For John, a single dad, life was a well-worn routine, a constant balancing act between his factory job and raising his daughter. Mia, his days were a blur of alarms before dawn, packing Mia's lunch and long, grueling shifts. Money was always tight, a quiet hum of stress beneath the surface. But John's spirit was rich with something more valuable: integrity. He learned discipline in the Army and life-saving skills as a certified first aid responder for his factory. Lessons etched not just in his mind but in his hands. His world revolved around Mia. Their bond was the unshakable core of his existence. One sweltering afternoon, the day started just like any other. Exhaustion pulled at John's shoulders, but he kept moving, Mia's small hand tucked in his. They were cutting through the city's central plaza, a chaotic whirlwind of tourists, flashing cameras, and a symphony of different languages. And then, in a split second, the noise faltered. A man, a tourist by the looks of his camera and map, suddenly crumpled to the ground. A wave of panic rippled through the crowd. People gasped, froze, or pulled out their phones to film. A woman shrieked, "Is anyone a doctor? Help!" But most just stood there, paralyzed by the suddenness of it all. For John, there was no hesitation. The chaos seemed to slow down as his training kicked in. He was at the man's side in an instant, his voice cutting through the panic. "Give him space. Someone call an ambulance now," he commanded. He knelt, checked for breathing nothing. He pressed his fingers to the man's neck, searching for a pulse faint, then gone. While bystanders watched, unsure and afraid, John took control. He tilted the man's head back, cleared his airway, and positioned his hands on his chest. Then he began compressions, his movements precise and powerful. 1, 2, 3, 4. He counted aloud, a steady rhythm against the frantic beat of the moment. Sweat beaded on his forehead as he worked, the seconds stretching into an eternity. From a few feet away, Mia watched, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and awe. The man remained lifeless. John's muscles screamed in protest, fatigue gnawing at him, but he refused to stop. He pushed on, the movements automatic, drilled into him long ago. He was just a single dad, tired and struggling, but in that moment he was a lifeline. And then a sputter, a cough, a ragged gasp for air. A collective sigh of relief swept through the crowd as the man's eyes fluttered open. Just as quickly, the wail of sirens grew closer. Paramedics rushed in, expertly taking over. John faded back into the crowd, unnoticed. He took Mia's hand and walked away before anyone could ask his name or thank him. He didn't do it for praise. He did it because it was the right thing to do. That night, as he tucked Mia into bed, she asked him, "Daddy, why did you help that man?" He kissed her forehead. "Because we help people when they need it, sweetheart." That's just what we do. The next morning, everything felt normal again. The world had moved on. As John stepped out for work, he saw a sleek black car parked at his curb. He figured it was for a neighbor, but a man in a sharp suit got out and walked directly toward him. "Are you John?" the man asked. John nodded cautiously. "Yesterday at the plaza," the stranger began, "the man you helped. He's alive and well. Thanks to you." Relief washed over John. The stranger continued. "The man you saved is Mr. Alistair Vance." The name didn't mean anything to John, but the stranger's tone suggested it should. "He's the CEO of one of the largest tech firms in the world. He would like to thank you personally." John was stunned into silence. He was told to pack a small bag, assured that Mia would be looked after by a trusted caretaker. Before he could fully process what was happening, he was being driven to a private airfield. There, parked on the tarmac, was a gleaming private jet. This has to be a mistake, he thought. But as he approached, the cabin door opened, and a flight attendant greeted him with a warm smile. "Welcome aboard. Mr. John, we've been expecting you." The interior was like something from a movie: plush leather seats, polished wood, and an air of quiet luxury that made his small apartment feel a world away. He felt completely out of place. As he sat down, a familiar voice said, "I believe I owe you my life." John turned. It was the man from the plaza, no longer a stranger but Alistair Vance, looking rested and impeccably dressed. The reunion was emotional. Vance thanked him with a sincerity that was overwhelming. "My doctor said that if you hadn't acted when you did, well, let's just say my company, my family, and my charitable foundation would be in chaos. You didn't just save me. You saved countless others who depend on me." He called John a hero. John, ever humble, just shook his head. "I just did what anyone with training would have done." Vance smiled. "But you were the one who did it." He then tried to offer John a check with a staggering number of zeros. John hesitated. He looked at the check, thinking of all the bills it could pay, the security it could provide Mia, but he gently pushed it back. "I didn't do it for money, sir." Alistair Vance looked at him with newfound respect. "I know," he said softly. "That's why I want to offer you something more valuable than money, an opportunity." He offered John a position leading a new safety and logistics division in his company, a role that would utilize his skills and discipline. He offered to fund Mia's education all the way through university at any school she chose. He offered them a new life, built not on a handout, but on a foundation of respect and genuine gratitude. John looked at this man, this incredible offer, and thought of his daughter. He had always struggled to give her the world. Now the world was being handed to them. It wasn't about his pride. It was about her future. With a lump in his throat, he accepted. As the jet took off, soaring high above the clouds, John looked out the window, his old life shrinking below. He was the same man he was yesterday, a father who valued character above all else. But in one moment, by making one right choice, he had completely rewritten his family's destiny. Wealth and status hadn't changed him, but they gave him the means to secure the future for the person who mattered most. The story never made the news, but for John and Alistair, it became a lifelong bond, a quiet testament to the fact that sometimes the greatest rewards come not from seeking them, but simply from doing the right thing. Thank you for watching. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content that inspires.